Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me to introduce myself. My name is Yose Armadhani. My student ID 18053021. My major economic education. In this time, I will to give a explanation about economic concepts, which has to be in the core competency. Understand, apply, analyze factual, conceptual, procedural knowledge based on their curiosity about science, technology, art, culture, and humanities with insight into humanity, nationality, state, and civilization related to the causes of phenomena and events, and apply procedural knowledge in a specific field of study according to their talents and interest to solve problems. And their basic competencies are describing the concept of economics. Before we talking about study in this time, I will to explain a bit about the indicators. There are one explain the meaning of economics. Two, explain the division of economics. Three, explaining economic principles. Four, explaining economic motives. And the last, economic problems, relatively unlimited needs and limited means of satisfaction. For these indicators, I will explain uh, point one, two, three, and four just in general. Uh, and the last point, the about economic problems, I will to expand it so we can get more get more uh, understanding about the economic problem. All right, let's begin. A, definition of economy and economic science. Economy. Economics comes from the Greek, namely oikonomy. It consists of the words oikos, or household, and nomos, or rules. So the economy in a narrow sense is a household rule. Broadly speaking, economics studies human activities in meeting their needs. 2. Economics or economic science. Economics is a science that studies human effort in meeting their needs by utilizing existing resources. Economics is said to be a science because it has science components, namely theories, facts, phenomena, and concepts. B. Distribution of economic science. Economics is divided into three studies, namely 1. Descriptive economy. Descriptive economics is an economic science that explains facts or empirical data about economic events. The function of descriptive economics to study economic conditions in a particular place or region. 2. Economic theory. Economic theory is a collection of economic principles or laws that are used as the basis for carrying out economic policies or the part of economics in charge of applying the relationship between economic events and formulating these relationships in an economic law or theory. Economic theory is divided into A. Microeconomics, economics that analyze small part of the overall economics activity in a small scope or in small scope. That's what we need to understand. Example, consumer behavior or production, demand, supply, production, cost, and other. B. Macroeconomics, economics that analyze changes in the household economy, companies, and the market at large in the meaning as the word. Example, national income, inflation rate, uh, unemployment, or monetary policy, and the other. Okay, next. Economic or and three, applied economics. Applied economics is part of economics, which is the application of theoretical economics, which examines the policies that need to be implemented to overcome the problems that arise in an economy. Example, using economic theory, measurement, and statistical analysis methods. Okay, the next, C, economic principles. Certain sacrifice want to get the maximum results, and with the smallest sacrifice to get certain results. The purpose of studying economics or for to create an unlimited number of priorities for needs. Benefits of studying economics. By studying economics, the benefit that will be obtained include A. Can help individuals and companies in establishing priority needs to be achieved. B. Can help study human behavior and utilizing resources to meet needs. C. Can help choose effective and efficient need satisfying tools. Okay, the next we will be explain about economic motivation. There are three economic actors that have different motives based on the objective obtained. A. Producer economic motives. In carrying out the action, the main objective of producers are that we can be now for get the maximum profit, seeking economic power, shows its existence in the social environment, helping others through social activities, obtaining state. Then consumer economic motives. In general, consumer economic motives are to fulfill, seek optimal satisfaction, and increase social status in society. The next, distributor economic motive. Distributor is a person or company that distributes goods and services from producers to consumers. And then we will be talking about economic motives are divided into two kinds. One, and intrinsic motive. Motive that comes from within yourself. Example, Anna helps flood victims because sympathy arises in her heart. Two, extrinsic motive. Motives that come from outside people. From outside. Example, Ali saves his money in the bank because all his friends in his class to do the same thing. Okay, in the next material, I will to explain, and we are being studying about economic problems that we need. I need to explain a bit more detail so we can get more detail and more understanding about the economic. Economic problems. Economic problems are problems that arise when wants and needs are met with limited resources. The economic problems will always appear in everyday life. The point is, because human wants and needs are many and unlimited, meanwhile, the availability of the required resources has not been able to fulfill his desire. This is the main problem of classical economics that we often experience. Example, as in our daily life, the monthly pocket money that is always in lacking is also an example of economic problems because we need much goods or much other goods that we need to fulfill, but we have lack that pocket money. So the lack of pocket money will make economic problem for us. Another example is the limited natural resources to meet the needs of the community. Um, there are a case about scarcity of rice in Indonesia. For example, rice is a basic needs for most Indonesian people. If basic needs are scarce, what will happen? Well, the people's need for the rice that is not balanced with the resources they have will certainly cause economic problems, right? And then because of that economic problems, well, well, the people's need for rice that is not balanced with the resources will have to cause economic problems. And then for understanding about the economic problems, we need to think again the economic theory. Uh, in before, I have to explain a bit about economic theory. Then, so in this material about economic problems, I will to explain more detail about economic theory. Uh, so all so far, can you understanding what is an economic problem? In order in order to understand more, then I will to explain it to you to get now the classification of economic problems and their theories as follows. One, classical economic theory. In this economic theory, the main problem of classical economics are divided into namely production, distribution, and consumption. Production. Production is the process of converting raw materials into finished goods or adding value to a product in the form of goods or service. In order to manage these goods and service must always be available, right? As a result, to meet such a large need, producer must know what types of goods and services are needed by their consumers. Distribution. Distribution is the activity of distributing goods or services from producers to consumers, so that these products are widely distributed. In essence, distribution is done so that products from producers can be spread more widely and reach consumers. After the product is available, the new product can be consumed. 3. Consumption. While consumption is the activity of using goods or services to meet needs, but there are problems that sometimes arise during this consumption process. Goods received by the consumers can be directly consumed, used, or just wasted. The reason is because the price of the product is not affordable by consumers or the quality of the product is not good. These two examples of economic problems are other issues that manufacturers must consider when making products. On the other hand, consumers are also asked to increase their purchasing power in order to absorb every product produced by producers. And then we will talking about modern economic theory. This theory mentions modern economic problems as microeconomic problems. In microeconomics, these are theories that study consumer behavior in more detail to the driving factors for determining market prices. Modern economic theory is much more complex than classical theory. Therefore, this theory discusses three main economic problems, which are divided based on their element, including what, how, and whom. Okay. Uh, First, what? The what element relates to the what product will be produced. So this element discusses how producers can determine the goods or service to be produced. After determining the products to be produced, producers are also asked to determine how many products to produce. This is important to be considered by manufacturers because it determines the performance of the products produced. Incorrectly determining the number of products can be fatal. The producer will certainly lose and even go bankrupt if the production is excessive. 2. How? After the product type and quantity are determined, the problem that producers must face is how best to produce goods and service. With the available resources, producers must be able to determine the most efficient production technique. In addition, producers must also be able to determine the right production system. For example, using human power or with the help of machines. If the producer chooses to use human labor, then he must think about the wages of the labor user. However, if you use help of machine, then he must to spend more investment to buy a machine and maintain it. 3. Whom. The final element that manufacturers have to think about is who needs their products and who will enjoy the results. Basically, the profits from the goods and service produced are not only for consumers, there are other parties who will also enjoy the benefits. For example, employees will receive salaries, owners of raw materials whose products are purchased by producers, to owners of capital or investor who receive income from their investment, and of course the producer themselves. Okay, I think that's all explanation from me about economic concept. Uh, as far as I explained the material, I know maybe I'm not really good in explaining in English, and I'm still learning more. I'm still learning to have much confidence and much belief in for me to explain in English for more good again. And later, for anything that can happen, and this video is making like a noise that's not. I'm say sorry for to that uh, for the noises. That's all for me. Only mistake. I'm say sorry. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.